Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deliwe Silepe and I'm a wife, I'm a mom, and I'm a corporate girl. So I've started this series, my career journey series, although I name it differently. But yeah, it's basically that, my career journey, and my career in the media buying industry. So it's actually the media industry. The only thing is that it was live on TV and South Africa was watching, and the people that were watching know it now as media buy because that's how they put it. But anyways, it's actually the media industry. And yeah, so today I'm going to be talking to you about how I got into the industry. So last week, actually not last week, the last video, we spoke about what the media industry is, like actually what a media planner is, what a media buyer is. And I like that I've niched it down to that because media is just so broad. You know, there's a brand side and there's the advertising, there's the brand side, and then there's also the media side. So yeah, so now we're talking about the media part, and I've niched it down to the planning and the buying and the strategy. But of course, media planning, media buying, and media strategy. So I've been requested to talk about, how to get into the industry, including what subjects you need in school, in high school to do this, but also what is, I think more importantly, what to do in varsity, what to study in university or in a tertiary institution for you to be able to study this. So I mean, for you to be able to work in this field or in this, in this industry. So I told you last week what the media industry is. I mean, what a media planner, what a media buyer does. I keep saying last week, it wasn't, it was just a few days ago. But anyways, I told you what it is. Now it's just a matter of me telling you how to get in, now that you know what you actually do there. I mean, by now you know that as a media planner, you basically plan your media, you schedule everything. So a media strategist would have come up with the bright idea of saying, this is what we're gonna do like an ongoing campaign where we're just always on, we're not leaving, we're not on and off, we're just literally always on. It's just going to be on TV. We're focusing on TV because we want like a lot of reach. That's all we want. That's kind of the objective, and that objective would have been that of a client. So a client would have come to us and say, hey, I need this and this and that, this is what I want. I actually want to reach as many people as possible. And then we say, the strategist will say, okay, then TV makes sense for that because TV is very high reach medium, and it will get you exactly that. And then a planner would come and say, okay, cool, now that we're doing TV, what TV channels, and exactly where do we, like what time of the day should we spot, should we plan that? So that will be part of the schedule that a planner would have done, right? And then a media buyer will then buy that. So basically buy from a media owner, which brings me to my next point. A media owner is a person, company, whatever, that owns media. So SABC own media because they are basically they have TV stations, they have radio stations. So if you want to advertise on Metro FM, you have to speak to SABC because it's their media. So they are media owners, you see. So then the media, well, of course, the media buyer will have bought the space from the media owner. Just as an example, SABC. Just as an example, it could be anyone. DSTV, ETV, anyone. So now, how I got into this industry, I got in through the media owner side. So I went to university, and in varsity I studied BA in communications. So that was I was planning to get that degree and to be somewhere in marketing. I knew that I wanted to be somewhere in marketing or advertising or media. I didn't know exactly where, and that I should niche down. You know what I mean? That at the end of the day, it's going to be one or the other. I think I actually probably knew that. It's just, I just didn't think about it at that point, right? So when I got to varsity and, started studying this, I was so excited. And a lot of the things we did were journalism. They focused a lot on journalism. Journalism being obviously the writing part of it. They focused a lot on politics. The politics was because a lot of news are politics. That was the explanation. And some of my friends did sociology, so you had to choose between politics and sociology. I'm not too sure why sociology. I also did industrial psychology. That actually helped a lot because that was for you to just survive at work. Basically, it was a survival tool for the the workplace. And I think that really helped me, especially mentally, just psychologically, because you can go crazy with a job, with a 9-to-5 job. I think everybody everyone knows this, right? Also on journalism, there's the InDesign part, so the design part of it. So basically, if you want to start a magazine or a newspaper, there's this I don't know if it's an app or what, but it's basically like, it's just a thing. I guess it's an app, but it has like lots of things inside. It's called InDesign, and with actually I feel like I'm equipped to can start my own magazine if I wanted to, because I can design it and what and all of that. But to be honest, I didn't like that very much, because yeah, I just didn't like it. But you know, I know how to do it, I just didn't like it at the time. So maybe it'll come in handy, who knows. So yeah, they taught us all of that, but they didn't focus a lot on and then they taught us PR. And for us, it seemed as though PR and advertising are just basically one thing, which they are, but they're not one thing, but it's separate from what you know, the whole journalism and whatnot is. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And the thing about journalism and all, it's good to know how to write, because you will write everywhere. So when you write, especially when you like do script writing, if you end up in the advertising side of things and you actually maybe work in a creative agency, and then you write, obviously you have to write script for the clients, you know, those things that like the live reads or whatever that is read for the client. You have to have a writing background. Some people are born with it, but some people have had to study that, and it's always better to just study something, right? And then another thing is that yeah, so I did all of that, but in the meantime, while I was studying, I was also doing other stuff. So I was a journalist at the university. I was a journalist at the university, but I was working for the university magazine. And yeah, so I used to write magazine articles there, and I think I started mid-second year, and then I did on third year, and then that was that. Then I worked at the radio station. So as soon as they started the radio station, our university did not have a campus station. So as soon as it started, I think I was third year at the time or something like that, maybe second year, halfway second year maybe. Yeah, then I started that, and actually there I was a content producer, which also involved a lot of writing, but you know, thinking back, all of those things did help. They helped a lot, because after that I then worked at the university. As soon as I finished my degree, I think in February I started the university. I was working in the communications department, and in the communications department of the university. So what was happening there is that I was writing speeches for the media director. It was one of the things I did. I mean, not all the time to just do that, and we actually had a very good relationship, so it just worked out that way. And I thought it was a big deal. I'm writing speeches for such a, you know, an important person, and they're going to speak in an important platform. So wow, that was just huge for me. And then I also did, like, obviously journalism. You know, I wrote quite a bit, because there's always like things in the university, there's always things that need to be written and put out there, you know. Yeah, there's just a lot of things that have to be done in the communications department of the university, right? And yeah, so I was there, and then I think sometime in September, while I was there, one of my colleagues came through and he said, you know what, actually there's an internship in Jacaranda FM. That's what he said, Jacaranda FM. So I was like, oh, internship Jacaranda FM, okay, I guess, because you know, I have that radio background. So I applied, right? So when I applied for that, I applied with my colleague who actually had an honors degree. I only had a degree, and I think the difference between us was that I had never worked at a she had never worked at a radio station before. So I worked at the radio station, but also I did a lot of pageants in varsity. Wow, and I was so good at that. Like, I won, I think 9 out of 10 of 90%, 99% of the pageants that I entered, I won. Like, for sure. There's literally just one that I didn't win, and I know why, but you know, we don't want to get into that. These isms and ism that and ism this. I don't want to get into that. Because it just seems like an excuse every time something didn't happen. But anyways, I was a pageant person, and well, I was a pageant queen. Actually, I have my tiara somewhere, like over there. Anyways, just thinking back to that now, lost my train of thought. But as a pageant queen, I also entered a Miss VUT FM pageant. Although I went to the university, the Northwest University, you know, Val Triangle campus, not VUT, but you could enter even if you're not a VUT person. It's just that, you know, it was just the station, not the actual school. I mean, not the university. So I entered that, and I was first princess. And yeah, so after entering and winning for that second prize, I guess first princess prize, I put that on my CV, believe it or not, because there were things that we did that I felt like, okay, this is an exposure in the radio industry, and I'm definitely, I'm here for it. I'm putting this down as my experience. I put that on my CV. I put everything on my CV. Everything. And I did a lot. Actually, I did quite a lot. So when I applied for that job, my CV had all of that stuff under, you know, under my name. And my friend, who actually had an honors degree, not a, you know, she had like more than just a degree. She had a degree and an honors degree. So that's basically 2 degrees. And she just didn't have a lot of experience, but she did a little bit of journalism. And of course, we did the internship together in the Northwest University. She also applied and she didn't get the job. But I got called and I got the job. So when I spoke to the guy that called me later, you know, well, the person that was handling the applications, or one of the people anyways, he said to me that the reason why he picked me, one of the reasons why he picked me, because he said it was like 800 applicants, and out of those they had to choose 8 to come to, I think 500 people applied, 250, I don't know, whatever, in the hundreds they applied, and then they had to pick 8 people of those people to come and do the interview, and then they picked 2. So it was myself and one of my friends. So now I asked, I was like, how did I, because I know that I applied with the person that has more qualifications than me, so how does this work? And also I was coming from a university institution where the more qualifications you have, the better. You know, when you have a degree, you have to get an honors. When you have an honors, you have to get a master's. When you have a master's, you have to, you know, it's always like you have to. I guess that's what happens in academics. And now I was in this space where none of that matters, actually. What matters is your experience. So he says to me that I saw your CV, I saw that you were part of the radio station, I saw that you did put some production in the content production in the radio station. I saw that you did quite a few things. You organized some events and all of that, and that for me was impressive, and I thought this person is actually a person we need. So the internship was not actually a Jacaranda FM internship. It was a Mediamark internship. So Mediamark is one of the media owners. They're very well known for radio, right? Or for owning radio stations, selling for radio stations. It's a media sales house. They sell a lot of radio stations and some TV and I think digital spaces. But I was there for the radio anyways. So they actually have one of the media that they own is Jacaranda FM. So they sell for Jacaranda FM. So when they brought us in as interns, everything was facilitated by them. We were paid by Mediamark, but we were actually experiencing everything. I would go to Voice of Wits FM, which was amazing. A lot of young people my age. Like it made a lot of sense for me. And then I went to Jacaranda FM. Jacaranda FM was so cool because it was just amazing. See, that was great. And then I also, we just went here this week, there next week, or this month here, the next month there, and then the other month I was at Mediamark. So Mediamark was like the corporate side of things, you know, the business, a lot of business was happening at Mediamark. But I think I did a lot at Voice of Wits because I was able to, you know, I didn't have, I was the person that could do it anyways. It was myself and the station manager that were handling that particular thing. I think there was another guy as well. We were handling that particular side of things, which was sales. And I think when I did well there, I was like, oh, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to sell this space, you know, the media. And I was like, okay, cool. At Mediamark, they do it, but at a larger scale. So they don't sell for a community radio station, which Voice of Wits is, but they're selling for like Jacaranda FM, bigger stations, for Gagasi FM, for East Coast Radio, for Kaya FM, for, you know, all these other stations. At the time they didn't have Kaya though, but you know, all these big stations, not all, but you know, these big stations. And for me, that made a lot of sense. I was like, okay, I have got to do this. This is what I have to do. And so I didn't, at that point, I wasn't exposed to other parts of the media. You see, I was exposed to this part, which is basically just the media owner side. And I knew that we sell to the media buyers. I just didn't know how and who and whatever. I didn't care. Not that I didn't care. I just, you know, I didn't know much, and it was okay. That what I knew was okay for me. And eventually, so I did my internship there, and then, you know, the next year I stayed in the sales department, because what happened was I had rotated from all the other departments, and then I stayed in the sales department. But then I got a call from one of my friends, and he said, you know what, there's actually this thing that happens it's called the Amasa program. So it's like it's a course that Amasa facilitates. Amasa is the advertising, there it is, It's the Advertising Media Association of South Africa. This is them. A lot of connections are made within that space. You know, we're able to see, we know each other through this space. Like the media industry is small because of this. I always say it's a big small industry because of this body, and I'm so grateful because I actually went to school. I did this course because of this body, you see. And it's actually, when you think about it, there's actually a lot of agencies that are part of this. You know, there's actually, I worked here at RMS Media, but there's also that's the printers. Then there's also Karat Media. So it's just, there's just a lot of a lot of people in the industry that have contributed in this book being the way it is, in writing this book. And actually my former CEO wrote a chapter in this book. So this shows you how the industry is, you know, you can't get a lot of the things from university. So in university I got a lot of the general stuff. It was very traditional, very general. When I got into this school, excuse me, I went to AAA School of Advertising. I got this, you know, this is what I got. So excuse me. I went to this AAA School of Advertising, and this is what I got. Like, I got this knowledge, and I went there for like 6 months. For me, it was 6 months. Was it? Yeah, it was 6 months. And there were people there that had been studying for 3 years. This was their degree, and I saw how it was just so practical, you know. Like, actually, it was this putting theory into practice. This is exactly what they did. Like, they put theory into practice. This. They put theory into practice, and for me that was everything. They were able to show us how to pitch, you know, in front of a client. When a brand comes over, like an actual client came through and they gave us a brief, and we then delivered. You know, we pitched for them, and then they chose, like, you know, who won. But obviously that didn't go anyway. It was just to show us how, and you know, how these things are done. So when you get to an actual agency and you work there, now you know that actually this is how things are done, and this is how a brief is made, and all of that. So I was just happy to be exposed to that, you see. So now a lot of my friends that come from there have told me how it's like, what it's like there to study from the beginning until the end, you know, like beginning of your degree until the end. It's actually quite nice because they teach you, like I said, a lot more practical. It's like a workshop, but it's like that for 3 years. A workshop where they call in experts in the field. So that means what? Connections. It means, and I'm not saying go to AAA, you can go to Vega as well. There's just so many other schools that you can go to, but just, well, Google and research about the schools that are in the field that you have. So I've realized that university, the traditional university, is not exactly necessary for everything. They might have everything, but it's not necessary for everything. Some things are best when they're learned from an actual specializing school. So do that for yourself if you can afford it. Go to an advertising school if you want to get into the media industry or the advertising industry or the brand industry, because by the time you graduate, actually I think by 3rd year, they actually get to choose between media and brand. So you can actually choose between the stuff and decide for yourself what you want to do, or you can do both of them and then decide later whichever opportunity that comes. So they call all the industry experts, people that are well known in the industry. So you are now exposed to such people. They teach you, they lecture you, and this is what happens. Imagine, like, how amazing is that? So 2 things that you can take out of this video. 1, it's important to do stuff while in university that are in line with what you want to study. 2, it's important to actually choose a school, even if you've already graduated or maybe fresh from high school, whichever one it is, choose a school that is specializing in whatever you want to do. And I don't think this applies only to advertising. I think it's actually quite a lot of things. Just think about it, research, do your research, and find out what are the, you know, which schools are doing what you want and they're doing it well. So yeah, do that. And that's that. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next week. Actually, I'll see you in my next video. Who knows, that could be in 2 days time. Cheers.